You are tearing me apart, Lisa! Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Corey, better known as the Seaman, and I want to welcome you to another edition of the Seaman's Cinema Sitdown. That is a line directly out of the movie The Room, which is what the film we are talking about today is based on. So you know the deal. Pull up a chair, take a seat. We're going to be talking about The Disaster Artist. That's right, but before we get there, I want to mention a few things we learn in The Disaster Artist about The Room because I think it's important to know some history. Because I think a lot of people haven't seen this movie, even though a lot of people have seen this movie. And we'll get there in a sec. The Disaster Artist was released in 2003. It's written, directed, produced, and stars Tommy Wiseau, who was a generally failed actor in Hollywood, couldn't catch a break. Most of the things he went through, he would be made fun of. He has a very, very unique look. He has a very, very unique accent. And most of the time he was turned down for roles, or he'd be made fun of and told, like, you should be a villain. He'd take classes and be like, you'd be a great villain. And Tommy never looked at himself that way. So he decided to make his own movie. And The Room is the result of that. It stars himself and his best friend, Greg Sestero, who was also a struggling actor at the time. And it's about a successful banker in San Francisco who is played by Tommy Wiseau, whose fiancée gets bored of him and decides to seduce his best friend, who is played by his real-life best friend, Greg. It was in theaters, or should I say theater, for 2 weeks. It played in exactly one theater in California. Tommy paid the theater to leave it out for 2 weeks because he wanted it to be considered eligible for an Oscar, which is just ridiculous to say. The Oscars and The Room should never be in the same sentence because the movie is atrociously bad. But it was in one theater for 2 weeks, and it grossed $1,900. And when you make a movie that costs $6 million, all of which was Tommy's own money, that's a pretty big failure. However, The Room gained a humongous cult following because it's so bad. It's heralded today as the Citizen Kane of bad movies, and over the 15-year stretch since its release, there's lots of midnight screenings and special event screenings, and it's actually turned a profit. And I think all of this is important to know because it plays into the story, and the story is the driving force, along with its lead actor, James Franco, and why I think this movie is so great. I enjoyed the heck out of this film. It's super funny. It's very touching and heartwarming at times, too, and the story is fantastic. I mean, listen to the facts about The Room. You tell me that story, you got me hooked. Now, you know me. I like to talk about the bad first, and for me, I didn't have a lot of things I disliked. I've heard some people say, no, it wasn't directed very well, and I feel like maybe those people don't know The Room, because if you know The Room, there are so many times in this movie you just go, oh man, that's right out of The Room. Oh man, that's exactly how it is in The Room. And I think Franco achieves what he's trying to do in telling the story. So I'm just going to get into the good, because there's lots of good things. And I'm going to start right at the very top, since we're talking about the story. It's important that this story humanizes Tommy Wiseau, who is generally considered a laughingstock amongst people in the film community because he made The Room. And outside of that, I didn't know anything about Tommy. I mean, I've seen The Room. It's really bad. And I've just, made fun of how bad it is. And, I would recommend seeing it if you don't mind watching a bad movie because it's worth the experience. If you haven't seen it, all you need to do, go to YouTube, look up the best scenes from The Room. It's about an 8-minute video on there. You find that and you will get everything you need to go see The Disaster Artist and like this movie as much as I did. But the humanizing of Tommy Wiseau was really one of the big plus points to this movie. In the first act, we see him struggle, and, he's a guy who doesn't hold back. He gives 100% all the time, and that's how he meets Greg. In an acting class, he goes out and does, a Streetcar Named Desire, Stella, and does an absolute horrible job of it. But it inspires Greg, who's a very shy actor, because Tommy holds nothing back. And they develop a friendship through this, and watching Tommy draw out Greg's confidence, it's endearing and it's inspiring. And you're like, wow, this Tommy guy is an okay dude, even though he's a little weird. And getting that feeling, knowing everything else we know about Tommy Wiseau, I think is a real big accomplishment for James Franco. And it attributes to his acting chops. He's one of the best character actors out there. And Tommy Wiseau might be one of James Franco's best characters to date. He method acts the entire movie. Reports said from day one all the way to the end, he is Tommy Wiseau the whole time. And it pays off because you forget you're watching James Franco. He's that good. I mean, he looks like Tommy. He sounds like Tommy. The only time I could remember that it was James Franco is when he would smile, because that smile is is unforgettable. It's so distinguishing in James Franco as a person. That's the only time it feels like he's breaking character, because his smile is so recognizable. But his acting really carries this movie, and it really makes you feel for Tommy because you see him get beat down by Hollywood. And that's another thing in this movie that I think is really cool, because so often, especially in critically acclaimed movies, I mean, this is nominated for 2 Golden Globes. Best Actor in a Comedy Musical and Best Movie in a Comedy or Musical. James Franco and the movie itself are nominated there. And it's odd because usually Hollywood likes to critically acclaimed movies that show the glitz and the glamour and the shine of Hollywood. And this shows, Disaster Artist shows the dirty underbelly. How Hollywood beats the crap out of, I would say, probably most people who go there. I mean, there's only so many big name actors, and for so many others, it's such a struggle. And this really, really shows that, and especially in its first act. And you really start to feel for Tommy as he's continually turned down. And he seems like he has good intentions, but he can't act. He's very unique looking, and he has a very strange accent. And a lot of times people are like, you should be like Dracula, you could be a monster or a villain. And Tommy doesn't look at himself that way. And it makes you feel for him, man. Your heart breaks when you see James Franco portraying Tommy going through this period of time. However, when you get to the middle of this movie, that flips. And it's the other thing that's really interesting with this film, because it's a story at the heart of it about friendship and chasing your dreams and goals and achieving those things. And, it gives it so much heart in delivering it that way. It's not told like a comedy. It's told like a serious movie and a serious story. But when you get to the middle, Tommy is disconnected from people in general. I mean, even his best friend, he doesn't trust him. He feels betrayed by him when, Greg gets a girlfriend and when Greg gets a different opportunity to be on Malcolm in the Middle. And he kind of leads to the ending of all those things. He blocks the Malcolm in the Middle thing, leads to the end of his relationship. On set, he's horrible to his cast and crew, verbally abuses them, doesn't give them great conditions. And in the middle of the movie, you really start to hate Tommy. Even though you sympathize to a degree because it's been so hard for him, you start to hate him in the middle. And that's important because at the end, when the movie finally premieres, he's lost Greg, but he gets Greg to come back for the movie premiere. And while they're watching it, you watch James Franco just break as a human because the people around him start making fun of the movie. Everyone starts laughing hysterically the whole movie, and he storms out. And, Greg goes and chases him. And despite the fact that they, right now, haven't really been friends, and Greg is played by James's little brother, Dave. And Dave does a great job. Really enjoyed Dave Franco in this movie. I really enjoyed seeing both of them on screen for the first time on the big screen together. They're just excellent together. But Dave runs up there, man, and he doesn't want Tommy to feel as defeated as Tommy does, because at the beginning when he saw Tommy get defeated by Hollywood, it took Tommy to a dark place, and I don't think Greg wanted to see that happen again. So he goes up there and he's like, "Hey, look, man. We told each other we'd push at each other. We got here. We finished. We crossed the finish line. How many people can say they made their own movie and got it on the big screen?" And the comedy in this movie is great. James Franco, without hesitation, is just like 1,000. I mean, it's little stuff like that just brings a smile to your face. And, Dave Franco's Greg eventually convinces Tommy, like, "Look, man, you're making people laugh. People are enjoying this. It thrive in that," and it re-energizes Tommy. And at the end of the movie, he goes down to the front to talk to the audience because it's the premiere. Standing ovation, and he goes, "Thank you for watching and enjoying my comedy, which is exactly how I had intended it to be," which is a lie because we know it was a dramatic movie that was supposed to be about life and relationships. And And when you get that full story arc, start to finish, you really get a different outlook on who Tommy is. And I thought that was interesting because I didn't really know anything about Tommy. And honestly, I don't really know too much about Tommy other than that. Other than he got beat down, you can sympathize with him because the three major things about Tommy Wiseau nobody knows. Not even Greg, his best friend, who he talks to every day. No one knows where he's from, how old he is, and where all the money comes from. $6 million of his own money. Nobody knows where it came from. But yeah, when you get that humanizing part of Tommy Wiseau, it's a real. It's what makes the movie, so touching and easy to connect with. The other thing that's really great about this movie is obviously James Franco. Like I said, some of the best character acting I think he's ever done. You lose him in the character, the role, and the lines throughout the whole movie just make you laugh. His relationship with Dave is so good on screen. They play off each other so well. And all that builds to something that I think was excellent. And then it's the authenticity. That's the biggest thing for me. And that's why I say watch that 8-minute clip of the best scenes of The Room, because, man, you sit back and watch this movie, and it's like James Franco looks and sounds just like Tommy. Dave looks like Greg. Everybody that's involved, just it pulls off and looks like you're really watching the real life making of The Room. And to their credit, James really did his homework. And you get it throughout the whole movie. You're just like, oh man, wow, that's right from The Room. Like, oh my God, that moment it's identical to The Room. And at the end, you get the big payoff because James does a brilliant thing, I think, to end this movie. He puts it side by side. Half of it is The Disaster Artist. The other half of the screen is The Room. And he plays probably about 7 to 12 scenes, I think, from The Room with what they shot. And the camera angles, the wardrobe, the delivery is so on point. The authenticity of this film is just what makes it land. That's what... It's the contact of the bat. It's what makes it a home run. Because you watch that side by side, man, and sometimes the deliveries are slightly off, but I'd say more often than not, you can't tell the difference between who's talking because the lines are matching up identically, and it's crazy to watch. I've never seen a film capture that so well. And when you're talking about a movie like The Room that's so critically bad, people love it, to match the scenes in the movie so well. Like I said, you watch that YouTube video, man. You watch that side by side. It's uncanny how identical it is. And for me, that's a super, super impressive thing to achieve. And that's why I love this movie, man. It's fun. It's funny. It's heartwarming. It's charming. James Franco carries this thing on his back. He's got all of his friends are there. Seth Rogen, the whole gang, and Dave are all really good. But James puts this movie on his back, front to back, carries it the whole way through, and he is excellent. And when you have an actor who is so quintessential and important to the success of a movie be as good as James is in this movie, it's no shock why I enjoyed it so much and why I think most people are going to enjoy it. So that's all I got to say. What do you have to say? Hit that comment section. Let me know if you saw the movie, if you liked it, if you didn't like it. Let me know what you did and didn't like. If you haven't seen the movie and somehow I have now inspired you to go see it, tell me that too, because I love getting people to go to the movies. I go all the time, and obviously there's not always a ton of people, but it's always a lot better when there are people in the seats, in the theater. And hopefully, if you weren't sure or thinking about it, hopefully I've gotten you to go, I'm going to go see that Disaster Artist film, because it's worth it. And I tell you, it's worth it, because when we get to the Golden Globes, and hopefully we get to see the actual Tommy Wiseau, after all this time, after taking all the criticism that he's taken, actually be on a red carpet with James Franco, man, if you've seen the movie, the payoff on that moment is going to be amazing, and I really hope it happens. I hope I get to see it, and I hope I get to see James Franco hold up a Golden Globe, because man, does he deserve it. So, for the C-Man Cinema Sit Down, I am the C-Man, signing off. Hope you all enjoyed it. Have a good one, folks.